excited every month when we get to select the champagnes that come out in your membership. And it's not that we just grab a bottle from here and a bottle from there. They're curated. They're curated based on a certain theme. And this month we're talking about to sulphur or not to sulphur. Now, this is technical. And I know that people talk a lot about biodynamics and organics in wine world, and sulphur is not a very well understood concept in terms of us as consumers, but let's just stop for a moment and consider the role of sulphur in making wine. Whether you're making champagne, whether you're making still wine, sulphur has pros and it has cons. Adding sulphur to wine will stabilize the wine, stops the wine from spoiling, stops it from developing undesirable aromatic and taste profiles. But what are the pros? The big pro is it can bridle the wine, it can limit its aromatic properties, it can hold the wine back. And I first started picking up on this concept actually in Burgundy, not in Champagne, about 4 years ago. So we're talking pre-COVID, and I was listening to the winemakers talk about lessening, about reducing the addition of sulphur in their winemaking because their thoughts were it was starting to cramp the wine, it was starting to hold the wine back, starting to bridle it. And more I'm seeing from the south of Champagne, the Côte de Bar, which is closer to Burgundy than it is to the heart of Champagne, a reduction in the use of sulphur. And in some instances, and in some vineyards, and in some passionate producers, the elimination of sulphur altogether. And this month's theme is looking at why we do not use sulphur in wine. I've got two great examples that abstain from use of sulphur. I returned from Champagne last month and had an appointment in my diary with Vincent Couche. And I was lucky enough to have Megan Broberg, who's our new COO, if you haven't met her yet. And I'm sure she'll be popping up at events around the country soon enough. Megan and I have just come back from our trip to Champagne. She's also wine scientist, wine nerd, winemaker. We sat down with Vincent and his importer, and I got to taste through the entire range, and I have to say, mightily impressed. He's located in Burgundy, in the Côte de Bar, so in the Orbe region. So we're quite far down, quite far south of the Champagne region. The further south we go, we're opposite hemispheres, the warmer we are, the closer we are to the Burgundy border. I was so impressed with every single cuvee that was put in my glass from Vincent. Vincent took over the family vineyards in 1996, so great year, and was certified organic biodynamic in 2008. A very passionate winemaker. But something that I was picking up on as I was tasting through the wines was his really non-interventional approach to making wine. Now that's just not the abstaining from use of chemicals, pesticides, herbicides, etc., but also holding back on the addition of sulphur. Now, sulphur is a natural additive and it's often added to wine in multiple places in the winemaking process, in fermentation, and also in bottling, cleaning of the barrels, if there's use of barrels in the vineyard, to stop the non-desirable microbes from turning a wine to vinegar. So taking those non-desirable qualities out. But on the flip side, if we are abstaining from sulphur, are we limiting the potential of the wine? Now, this is a big question. Vincent is very passionate in reducing sulphur. So is his neighbor, Michel Drapier, also very passionate about the abstaining from use of sulphur. The wine that we are featuring this month is Elégance, a beautiful cuvee. Hello, Tango. He's wandering around. I can hear the pitter-patter of feet. We've got two cuvées coming out to you this month. Coming out to all of our lovers is the Elégance, very beautiful cuvee. They're opposite extremes. So we've got 73% Pinot Noir. We've got the balance in Chardonnay, so no Pinot Meunier in this wine. Quite fresh. We've got 2 years in the cellar. We've got it recently disgorged. It's very bright. It's very elegant, but we are abstaining from sulphur, and there's also no chemicals, no fertilizers, no nothing, and no added sugar. So it is a brut nature. Both cuvées coming out this month are a brut nature. So we're essentially going from vine to wine with minimal intervention. Now, when you do that We need to ensure that we've got viticulture of the highest quality. We need to ensure that we've got winemaking of the highest quality because there is nowhere to hide. The addition of sugar at the final stage, at the dosage stage, is akin to putting makeup on a woman. Are we hiding some flaws or are we leaving her natural? And you can only do that when you've got exceptional winemaking. I must admit, when I first put, this is wine number one from the tasting that I had with Thomas, who's the importer, and Vincent in my glass, I'm thinking instantly, we've got a winemaker with some serious panache, with some serious dedication and a serious love of making champagne. Down in the south, of course, we've got clay, we've got Kimmeridgian soil, we've got pre-Jurassic soil, so very different to the north of the Champagne region. Really vibrant wine, very clean fruit, very elevated. I remember having this impression of the Southern Cross on my palate, and for those of you in Australia, we know what that means. Great length, great dimension. We've got the perfect power of Pinot Noir with the perfect elegance of Chardonnay, a very, very clean finish, Moorish wine, very desirable on the palate. But again, we've got something that is purely unbridled and purely elevated because we've abstained from using sulphur. And that is part of the passion and part of the identity of a winemaker like Vincent, who really wants to show you how good a champagne can be when you take your hands off and are non-interventional. To all of our connoisseurs, and I think this is the best way to experience the club, is to have both bottles side by side, the Vincent Couche, which is the Elégance, and we have Champagne Chavost. I've been waiting for the right time to introduce this champagne to you because it's very exciting. I love the gorgeous animation on the label, and make sure when you open the bottle, you take a note of the plaque de Mousselet, which is a little plaque that's on the top of the bottle. Some people collect them, I know you do, and you're gonna love this one, it's gorgeous. This is a really exciting producer. Now, we've got a house that was founded in 1946 as a group of cooperatives. What is a cooperative? It is a group of winemakers that come together. They all own individual parcels of land, but they produce a singular range of cuvées. And let's be honest, when you're producing champagne, it's expensive. One of the most complicated wine production techniques in the world, one of the most expensive production lines in the world. So coming together has its economic advantage. However, in 2019, we have a young and talented winemaker, Fabien Daveillot, who says to this older group of cooperative growers, why don't we splinter off 5 hectares of land and try something new? It's an experiment. This experiment includes the use of abstaining from chemicals and fertilizers, so we're organic in our process, we're biologic in our process, but we are also using indigenous yeast, so natural yeast from the vineyard, no added sugar, just like Vincent Couche, so we're zero dosage, but we are absolutely without sulphur. Abstaining from the use of sulphur means that the wine is risky, so to speak. It can go off in whatever direction that it likes, but it also is unbridled. You get the true essence of the fruit. You get the true expression of the terroir. What is the terroir? We are Chavost Coco. We are at the northern extreme of the Côte de Blanc, the Coast of White, which is all about elegant Chardonnay, and we're at the eastern extreme of the Vallée de la Marne, which is clay soils where we have beautiful Pinot Meunier with depth. And in this cuvée, we have 77% Chardonnay. We have the balance being a blend of Pinot Noir and Pinot Meunier. It is a single vintage. Take note of this, but you're not allowed to see the vintage on the label because it's only 2 years of aging. The rules in Champagne are, if it's not 3 years of aging, you cannot put the year on the label. So yes, technically it is all from 1 year, but it's not allowed to be on the label. We've got this beautiful natural process of fermentation. Let me tell you, the wine is faultless. In comparison to the Vincent Couche, which was more red fruit, still with that beautiful dry characteristic, we've got more cream, more butter, more elegance, more suppleness, more softness, but still a vinosity in the Champagne Chavost. 2 very different examples. The switch of grapes, 2/3 Pinot Noir versus 2/3 of Chardonnay. Both wines abstaining from the use of any chemicals, any fertilizers, any sugar, and any sulfur. I'm gonna leave it up to you to decide, is this a benefit of adding sulfur or is it not? Is it a risk? Yes. But do we see two beautiful examples of zero sulfur wines that are pure, clean, and expressive of their respective terroirs? I think you'll agree that both champagnes are excellent, and I hope you enjoyed this month's theme of no added sulfur in champagne. And we'll see you on the next episode. The winemaker, Adrian, who is, I'm gonna go again because I can't remember his surname. The Marne. So we've got clay soil. No, I think I need to just stop it. The dog is distracting me. It's no.
All right, can you in 3, 2, and action.
Tango.
I'll put him in the bedroom.
Put him in the bedroom.
No, I can't hear you.
Right, you're staying in here. And then on. We are in the Côte du Sud de Épinay, so the south of Épinay. So we're at the top of we're at the northeast. Never eat soggy wheat. Northeast, southwest. So we're at the something new, something different. Welcome back, Tango. Chavost. What is a cooperative? It is a group of growers who come together. Dog. Is that downstairs? Oh my God, I'm so sorry. This is doing my head in. All right, we're gonna do it one more time.
Can you in 3, 2, 1.